So I really enjoy your content. Thanks for having me on your stream.
Of course.
Uh,
Thanks for coming on.
if you don't mind, I have a few questions for you.
Sure.
So would you say that part of your trolling is based in like the fact that a lot of these groups that they pedestalize themselves as being like really moral or ethical, but they're not, and you're trying to highlight that?
Um, yeah, absolutely. That has a lot to do with it, but also, I would say if there's any sort of hypocrisy in that group or bigotry, I started this whole thing because back in 2020, to be specific, my first huge video was back in March of 2020 when I trolled Diana Ploss, and the reason I did that was to, highlight her bigotry towards, and she went on to say stuff like, I um, she went on to make a video that got her fired from her radio job, where she was harassing a bunch of landscapers, asking them if they were legal, if they spoke English, stuff like that. So I really, you know, don't like that sort of behavior. So, she even went on to say, like, my, uh, I hate it that you have to dial one for English, as if, and she said stuff like, in America, we speak English. And to me, what makes, the US and the world a beautiful place is that, there's variety, like the Italian language, for instance, is a beautiful language. Other languages too. Variety is the spice of life. And, I just don't like it when people target someone because of uh, how can I put it? Um, I really don't like bigotry. Is what I'm trying to say.
So I mean, you would consider yourself an ethical person, right?
I do my best to be ethical, yes,
Okay. So
and I
I
do know where this is going, and
do.
I do, based on based on your name, vegan equilibrium. Um, and I will say that I do eat meat, and I know that, and I'm sure you don't believe that's ethical. Um,
Why do you think it's ethical?
um, I don't think that the treatment of animals to get the meat on our table is ethical. Um, I um,
Would you agree
it
that you could be vegan?
yes, I would absolutely agree with that.
So
And
like
and
what's
and, and
what's
I do,
stopping
and
you?
I
You already said it's unethical. Like what's stopping you from being vegan?
um I will say that I think for me, I've struggled my whole life with eating, with with weight. So it's not that I couldn't be vegan. It's more that um, I don't mean to make this sound like an excuse. It's old habits die hard.
Right,
It's
but
it's
and of
it's
course, but you know that that would be so like if you put it in the human context, you know that that would be like such a silly excuse that we would never accept, right?
and again, I said I acknowledge that it's an excuse. I do. Um, it's just for a lot of people, it's easier said than done. And I'm not saying that that's the best excuse. I'm just saying
Do
that's
you think that for like, I mean, So I don't know. It seems like what you're saying is that because you can get away with it, you're gonna keep doing it, and regardless of whether you think it's right or wrong.
Well, I don't think that takes into account, the lifetime of habits of people. You know.
Well, you think about like a lot of these scumbags that you troll. I mean, they've probably been scumbags their whole life. It is probably habitual for them to do a lot of the shitty things that they do. Like they were
Hmm.
raised in a shitty situation where they weren't taught like good boundaries or right from wrong, and so like what if they were to just say, hey, look, this is just how I've been my whole life, I'm not going to change now, why I shouldn't, and who are you to say I should have to change? And you know
Well, that's not what I'm saying.
well, you just said it's habitual, and that's
I
isn't that
said,
what?
um, I said that it is a lot. I think it is a lot easier said than done.
Right, and I
But
mean
that
these people, like I was saying, the scumbags that you troll could say the same thing about their actions, their habits, the shitty things they do. They could just say, "Hey, look, oh, you want me to change my mind or change what I'm doing? Easier said than done." Like, what's so different between you and those people?
um, I take your point. I wouldn't necessarily characterize it the same thing. For instance, let me give you an example, okay? And I wasn't prepared to talk about this tonight. So I'm not going to have like the absolute, best answer in the world. But it is my understanding, for instance, that a lot of things that you get from meat, like there are amino acids, for instance, that are in meat that you can't get elsewhere from
That's not true.
veget.
That's blatantly false.
Okay.
Yeah,
Again, I wasn't prepared to talk about
yeah.
this, so
No, no.
I'm
Well,
not going to give
I
you the
mean,
perfect
and
answer.
obviously, like, and I know you said you're not prepared, so like, it's not like one of these kind of things where we're both gonna, like, I'm on my phone right now. If you want, like, I could definitely email you a lot of resources. I could email you. There's a whole thing about how every plant has um, every plant has the full amino acid profile in varying degrees.
Mm.
So like I can send you all the peer reviewed literature there is on this topic if you want later on. If that
Absolutely,
would
you
change your mind.
feel feel free to do so, and I'll look into it.
Yeah. How would I send that to you? How would I contact you?
If you looked at, are you watching on YouTube or?
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so if you go down into the description of this live stream, you'll see my email um, at the very bottom.
Okay. No, I will send you some stuff, but I just, so like, let's say you knew that you had all this information. This is a hypothetical. You knew that you could be perfectly healthy, eating a plant-based diet, and that wouldn't be a struggle for you at all. Do you still feel like you would have any excuse not to do it?
Um, no, no, I don't.
So if I send you that
And
literature,
just to interrupt for just a sec, I'm very sorry. I'm looking this up, and I will correct myself because I don't mind being wrong. I guess that was just something that was told to me, and I never looked it up, but I'm
yeah, no,
looking it up
that's
right
that's
now,
what they
and it
call
and
conventional
it says
wisdom.
all the amino acids found in meat are also available in plant-based vegan sources. So
Yeah.
I'll concede that I was wrong on that. but I'm happy to look over, what you have to send me.
No, I appreciate that, Mike. And like, I mean, I like I said, I love the work that you're doing.
That's and
I
just
think you have a really
interrupting.
great thing going. But let me just finish my point. I think you have a really
Sure.
great thing going, but just the fact that you're not vegan is like the turd in the punch bowl. Um, and I think that like you're, I don't know, like you would have a much stronger message, I feel, if you really walked, walked the walk, right? And showed
Hmm.
compassion to all sentient beings. Like the real question to ask yourself is what is the morally substantial difference between humans and other animals that makes it okay to do the one but not the other? And I don't think if you're an honest person, you probably won't be able to name a trait that doesn't create some kind of logical contradiction. So,
Hmm. And I would push back on what you said earlier. What's the difference between me and the people that I troll that are bigots is the fact that I am willing to learn what I don't know. I'm willing to listen to you. They aren't. They've displayed time and time again. Whenever I've said something they don't like, they go to the police and try to get me arrested. I'm willing to listen. They aren't. That would be the only thing about what you said that I would push back on.
well, I appreciate that, Mike, and I hope that you're also willing to change. And you could, I mean, you could be very, I think, in my opinion, you would not be a hypocrite anymore, and you would really be a lot more powerful with your message. And my personal opinion, but I appreciate you letting me come on the stream and talk to you about that. I think that you will recognize that the only correct thing for you to do is to live a vegan lifestyle, to be in
All right.
alignment with your values.
Hmm.
Would you agree that like there's no morally substantial difference between animals and human animals?
I would agree that that they, just as we do, deserve to be treated humanely.
Like they deserve to have human rights extended to them.
Like free speech, for instance, is
Well, I mean,
uh,
obviously, like you could say, yeah, we we want a certain level of free speech, but if like for example, a baby, like yeah, we're gonna give free speech rights to a baby, but that doesn't really mean anything for a baby as it would for an animal, right?
mhm.
Like we're not gonna let toddlers drive, and for a lot of animals that probably have the same mental capacity as a toddler, we're not going to let them drive. Although there is an orangutan that does drive, by the way.
That's awesome. I'm actually gonna look that up. That's really cool. I never knew that actually. Um, but yeah, I will absolutely, look over what you said, and I've been, I will say this. It's not that I don't think that animals should be treated humanely. I've been trying to lose weight all my life, and it's just like, y- you know, uh, when you, um, it's just harder for other. I hope you can at least acknowledge, it's harder
I
for
mean,
some than it is for others.
you could say that maybe like you feel like you struggle with it more, but that's like that is no reasonable that like excuse to pay people to basically torture, rape, and murder animals for your taste pleasure. Um, all you have to do is put yourself in the victim's shoes and look at it from their perspective and think, oh, just because I feel like being a glutton, that means that they have to suffer for me or something. That's silly. Like, and if you like, look, I struggle with like you know, I've been overweight, I've been underweight. I've had a lot of issues with stuff, but if you're someone that likes to eat and you like junk food, I'm not saying that there's nothing morally wrong with that. Eat vegan junk food. There's tons of vegan junk food out there. And a lot of them vegan mock meats now, they taste just like I got a Impossible Whopper the other day, and I was a little worried that like I had actually been eating a cow flesh because it tastes, you couldn't tell the difference.
Hmm. Well, I will say to your point, that I had a someone that I was dating back in 2024. She was a vegan, and I had vegan with her, and it was, to my surprise, it was really good. So I know that there are options available. Good options, good vegan options, I should say, available.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I will, whatever you send me, I'll look over and I'll respond to you.
All right, well, yeah, I definitely will send you some stuff. And listen, I know you're in the, well, I'm pretty sure you're in the New England area because I see you coming to Boston a lot. I'm in the
I
Boston
am.
area. Yeah, I'm in the
Okay.
Boston area, and if you ever want help with any of your videos or just people to tag along with or whatever, I love the stuff you do, and I'd be happy to support you or join you in that. So
I
we'll talk.
appreciate that. Thank you. And I'll send me an email and I'll look it over.
Cool. All right, man. Have a good night.
All right. You too. Thank you for joining.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.